Hi there, my name is Toby, and on this channel I talk about the energy, the chi energy or the ether, the life force energy. And it's very interesting. This is a holistic science. I can talk about this in many different ways. I talk about it in the body, exercises, because we've got to feel it, experience it. I talk about it spiritually in terms of the soul spirit and spiritual experiences of this energy. And I talk about it scientifically, philosophically, which is what I'm talking about today, because it is a real science also. It will lead to real technology, real things such as free energy machines. So that's a bigger job to try and actually explain the real science of this. But it is fascinating. It is fascinating the fact that I can actually talk about this energy and it answers all of the questions. It answers the questions about life, and it answers questions about the laws of the universe, the fundamental laws of physics. The laws of life and the laws of physics must come together. You can't separate them. That's what they've done now. The problem is they've separated all these things out, and that's why you can't get a full picture. You can't get a complete picture of the universe. We haven't got it. I mean, I think everyone knows, modern science does not know everything. We all know there's some other mysterious technology. We all know that. Alien technology. If there's alien technology, what is that? Why do we not understand it? Are they coming from a different universe with different laws? No, they come here to this place, if we so-called see these UFOs. So how are they flying? What are they flying with? They're not using quantum mechanics. They're not using Newton's laws. They're not using our physics. So we all know that our physics is limited. There must be more. But we're not willing to look. We're not willing to think about more. You see, it's become a bit of a cult. We believe our science. We are right. Yeah, but you can't explain all this. Yeah, we're trying. No, you have to stop what you're doing. You're off on a tangent. You have to come back. You have to look at the life force energy, the ether, the chi. If the alien technology is working, it's working because they understand metaphysics. They understand the soul spirit. They understand the energy, the chi, the life force. The life force is here, but the life force is going to be everywhere. Life force is going to be everywhere. It's not unique to us. The whole universe is made up of the life force. So there's going to be living beings everywhere. Of course there are. In fact, the universe is infinite. Infinite. Now, that's what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about the Big Bang. Was there really a Big Bang? Now this is interesting. Now, there are, even now, there are a few mainstream professors in physics, top professors, that no longer believe in the Big Bang. And of course, there are plenty more non-mainstream, serious professors, scientists, you can't call them professors if they're not mainstream, who don't believe in the Big Bang. They realise it has to be nonsense. And interesting enough, you might think the Big Bang idea comes from the scientific community. It doesn't. It actually came from the church. It comes from a monk. It was a particular monk who came up with the idea. And it's really a bridge. It's a bridge between the religious world and the scientific world. The religious world is saying there's creation. God created it. The scientific world was saying, well, no, there's not. But now, there's a Big Bang. A Big Bang is a moment of creation. So now the scientific world can talk about the Big Bang, and that's the same as the religious world talking about the moment of creation. So you sort of unified the two. But really all that's happened is you've turned the science into another religion. Like I said, it's another belief system. Because the Big Bang does not make sense. It can't make sense. It's nonsense. And let me try and justify that argument to you right here, right now, using logical deductive reasoning and observation. I'm hoping I can prove this to you right now without any telescopes, without anything. It just requires some logical thinking. Now, let's look at it like this. if there was a Big Bang, what was before the Big Bang? Well, there was nothing. There was no space and there was no time. Of course, time would have begun at the Big Bang also. But was there anything in existence before then? Well, there was. Mathematics. You've got to ask any physicist, anyone, any philosopher, does mathematics exist? Yes. Is mathematics physical? No. Mathematics only can exist in consciousness. That's abstract. That's metaphysics. So, is mathematics always true? Yes, it always works. It has to. So, was mathematics true before the Big Bang? And the answer has to be yes. Mathematics has to be there before the Big Bang. So then there is something before the Big Bang. It's mathematics. Mathematics is always there. Mathematics is outside space and time. So already now we have to accept there is something that exists outside space and time. Mathematics. It's always true. Mathematics only exists in consciousness. You can't have mathematics without consciousness. Therefore, consciousness must always exist. It's also outside space and time. So if there was a Big Bang, before that there was still mathematics, there was still consciousness. And then somehow this consciousness from nothing created the Big Bang. Oh, now, here's the thing. It's right in a certain sense and completely wrong in another sense. In that it's correct in that energy is created like a Big Bang, but energy is also destroyed. It will also go back. And in the Big Bang, well, let's go back. There are three theories. You could have a steady state universe. That's the first theory. The universe just is steady, just doing what it's doing. Then you can have an expanding universe from a Big Bang. And then you can have a pulsating universe. It expands and then maybe it contracts again. And there's a theory called the Big Crunch. So you might have a Big Bang, and then later on it all goes down to a big crunch. It all disappears again. And then we have another Big Bang. So that, again, the idea of that is nearly right, because energy is created and it is destroyed. There's like a little Big Bang and a little big crunch. That's in a magnet here. We can see this. We can actually look at this. There's a magnetic field that comes out, but in the middle is a tiny point. It's like a little Big Bang. Tiny Big Bang, and the field comes out. In the middle is nothing. But it also goes back in again. It's a crunch. It comes out and it goes in, into that point. But it is continuously happening. It's continuously happening. So there's not like an initial moment. The field is always here. That is always happening continuously. So it's not a single moment Big Bang. It's a continuous Big Bang happening on many different levels. A tiny little level like this, and huge levels in the universe. A black hole itself is like a little Big Bang. Energy is coming out of a point of inertia. And this is what you call a point of inertia. A point of nothingness, emptiness, in the middle. A Big Bang. But you cannot have a first event. The reason you cannot have a first event is because if something exists outside space and time, that means there is something always present. Mathematics consciousness is always present. Therefore, space and time must also always be present. So let me put it another way. If mathematics always exists, that means consciousness always exists. But mathematics is a process. It's a process. So if mathematics always exists, that process always exists. Do you see? Mathematics is a process. It exists outside space and time, so it always exists, but it is a process, and it requires consciousness. Now, a process implies time. So for mathematics to exist, time must also exist. And time must always exist. So you can't have a beginning moment of time, because that means there's a beginning moment for mathematics. There has to be a beginning moment for the process to start. You can't have that, because that means before the process started, there can be no mathematics. Well, we know there can never be a time when there is no mathematics. Mathematics is always present. It always exists. Therefore, a process always exists. Therefore, time always exists. Now, so there cannot be a first moment. Again, it's the whole problem about karma. There's a whole other philosophy on the other side of the Eastern philosophies. You've got karma. They have a cycle of time. They believe more in eternity of cycle going round and round. So that's not a Big Bang theory. Again, it's religious. But they have the idea of karma. So you do something bad happens to you, so on and so forth. But you can't have that either. Because who did the first karma? You've still got a first action. Someone has to do the first karma. Who does that? There's no karma has happened. I do the first karma. I've started the whole process off. So now that can't be balanced. Do you see? So that person had the first karma happen to them. They say, there's no karma. They're just me and you. So the very first karma, I come and I smack you. Now the first action ever done is a bad action, and it's happening to you, but you have done no previous bad actions. There's been no actions before. So how could you possibly receive the slap? How can you possibly deserve it? Because you have done no previous karma to deserve the slap. So karma is not correct either. Karma is just another Big Bang. You can't have an initial event. Isn't there just no way? Logically, you've got to think about it. So already now, that disproves the Big Bang. I don't even know why they thought of that. Well, I do know why. It's because it's to create a belief, a religion, a cult. Why do you want a cult, a hierarchy? Even the scientific community we've got now, it's a hierarchy. Professors, PhDs, Nobel Prize winners. Who created all this hierarchy? Universities. You think it's peer review. It's not. It's money created this. And peer review means all the people that agree. Yeah, we keep agreeing with each other. Anyone who does not agree with the peer review is out. That's not science. That's not science. That's dogma. You see, that's a cult. It's a hierarchy, a power structure, and it's used. Why do you need a power structure? To control people. That's the only reason you need a power structure. You need a power structure because someone on the top wants power. How do they get power? They have to control people because they've got to take their power. How do you control them? With a hierarchy. So we got that in a hierarchy. The scientific community is a hierarchy even. In the olden days, it's just a group of people who meet up and they're chatting. It's just chatting and debating. So it's a bit more equal level. People come in with all different ideas. So there's not a hierarchy. It's a true scientific process. And a true scientist can be all alone. Like me, I'm pretty much all alone here telling you these ideas. Does that make me less of a scientist? Does that make me wrong because I'm alone? No, of course not. You see, appealing to authority is not an argument. You can't have that. You can only have logical, deductive reasoning. And I don't care how many people think on that side, if it's only me and only them, well, let's look at the logic. It's nothing to do with the quantity of people who believe it. You see, it also applies to flat Earth. There's a whole other theory, flat Earth, and I've thought about that. I've taken it seriously. Okay, I will be open-minded. I will take everything seriously. But again, the flat Earth can't be literal. It can't be. Because we've got three-dimensional space. Here, we know it. We can't deny it. If I've got three-dimensional space here, there's going to be three-dimensional space everywhere. So I can't be on a flat plane, but inside a flat plane, I've got three-dimensional space. And again, it's ancient, but the idea of a flat plane is metaphysics. You see, we do live on a plane of existence. This is the human energy plane. It's a particular level of perception. But in this plane of existence, there is three-dimensional reality. This is a globe. You see, they have to have a planet. You have to have a ball. You have to. It's geometry. If you've got three-dimensional space, that sphere is the most economical, most efficient geometry for space. And because this material world is entropic, everything collapses down to its lowest form of energy. Material substance, when it collapses down to its lowest form of energy, it must become a sphere. Has to. That's geometry. That's efficiency. That's mathematics. That's logic. So already I don't need to do any other research. I know the planet must be round. Now, saying that, the flat earthers have done a lot of interesting research and come up with a lot of anomalies. So, for example, the size of the planet might be wrong. I've got to do some research into that to really find out if that's true. But there could be other effects, you see. The effect of the round planet, it may feel like a flat plane, but because we can't comprehend the size of the curvature. But there also might be another effect. There's a magnetic field, an energetic effect, where even the light or the vision does also bend around it. There could be other effects that we're not aware of because modern science is not looking at that. And that goes again to the Big Bang Theory. The Big Bang Theory comes from the Doppler effect. They're looking out at the stars and they're noticing what is called a redshift. That means the stars further away are a bit more redder. So the further away, it's like the light is slowing down. It means no, because the things are traveling away, the frequency of light is changing when it hits you. So this you call a redshift. The Doppler effect, you can see it. We can all see it when an ambulance drives past. So when the sound comes, it goes na 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 na. That's the Doppler effect. When the sound is coming towards you, because the thing is traveling, it gets faster. When it goes away from you, because it's going away, the sound goes slower. So you've got a slight change. Na, 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 na. So that's the Doppler effect. But again, our understanding of light is still limited. We don't know what it is. And light is still just a disturbance in the ether. It's the way I explain it. It's also the way Tesla explained it. And a lot of these people that believe in ether, serious people. But there is another thing that can cause a Doppler effect. A magnetic field also has an effect on light. You can see a slight red shift on one pole of the magnet, and you'll be able to see a slight blue shift on the other. But you can see this, you can observe this. So a magnetic field does have an effect on light. So the red shift could also be a magnetic effect, not so much an expansion effect. So there is another explanation for it. That's the point. So let me just interject here because I need to qualify that statement a little bit more, because modern science does not believe that magnetism can affect light, but they do believe that gravity can affect light. And I'm saying that gravity is also magnetism. I'm defining gravity as depolarized magnetism. It's the same force. And furthermore, you can also see magnetism having an effect on light. In this video linked below, you can see there's a slight disparity, there's a phase disparity, or an interference between the magnetic field and light. And at one end of the magnet you can see a red shift, and at the other side you can see a bit of a blue shift. So you can actually see this. Now admittedly the light is in a medium, it's in that magnetic medium, so you can see it. But in the universe, the light is interacting with a big magnetic field in the medium of the ether, in the ether itself. So that's what I think anyway. So that qualifies a statement a bit more. If you want to see it, please check out the link below. So let's continue with the lecture. But the universe also has to be infinite. Here's the next thing. And again, not many people are going to say this. But and again, the shape of the universe, there's lots of talk about the shape. People saying it's a donut, a toroidal shape, because the magnetic field is toroidal, a donut. But the magnetic field is spherical. It's a sphere. And it is infinite. Has to be. The ultimate shape of a field. The magnetic field, here's a magnet. And even modern science will say that. Where does it go? A field comes out, but where does it go? Well, it goes off. How far? Well, it goes off. How far? Off to infinity. Yeah. In theory, the magnetic field goes off to infinity. It gets so weak, but it's infinite. But where does it come from? Yeah, the point of inertia. Yeah, what's that? It's a point in the middle. What is it? There's nothing there. Well, it's infinitesimal. Infinitesimal means it's gone to zero. Nothing. So infinitesimal goes to infinite. In a field, that's just this magnet. If this magnet is doing that, that means the universe has to be infinite, and the universe has to go to nothing, infinitesimal. But infinite has to be a sphere. Has to be. I've said this multiple times. If I'm sitting here, go off to infinity in all directions, I can't get there, but infinity has got to be equidistant away from a point, i.e. that is a sphere. So the universe is an infinite sphere. It has to. Now, the other reason it has to is mathematics. Mathematics has got within it the concept of infinity. So in the perfect world of mathematics, there is a concept of infinity. Because mathematics exists, therefore infinity also must exist. So the universe has to be infinite. Whether we can get there or not, you can't get there. As you approach infinity, you're crossing over towards the metaphysics. It's the same here in the magnet. And as you approach infinitesimal, you're crossing over into metaphysics, pure mathematics. So in the middle of this is the infinitesimal point. That is the point of creation of the universe. The universe is creating, going off to infinity, but it's also the point of destruction of the universe. It's going back into their point again. And everything we are seeing and experiencing is in the middle part. Between these 2 points, between the infinitesimal and the infinite, the manifest universe appears, energy appears. But it's finite. Within this, it's finite. It's not infinite. Here it's finite. Finite. And it's objective. It has to be finite. It has to be fixed so that it can be objective. Again, now we're talking metaphysics, the soul spirit. But let's go back again to the flat earth, because it's very interesting. And it goes back old theories. You know, they say, well, the earth was flat. But what was underneath it? Well, it was on the back of a turtle. So they say, well, the flat earth plane was on the back of a turtle. So we laugh now. What this crazy nonsense. Yeah, but even we think those people were primitive idiots. No. They were still talking metaphysics. They weren't talking literal. Whoever, you know, this is going way, way back. But then it's a funny joke about this. And again, there's a guy called Ken Wheeler. I'll leave links to his channel. He talks all about this as well. So I recommend his channel to learn more, get his perspective on it. Mine is still slightly different, but I thoroughly recommend Ken Wheeler's channel. Anyway, he says the joke like this. So, of course, it's in the old days, they're teaching. So the teacher is saying the earth is flat and there's a turtle. But the kid asks, well, what's under the turtle? So the teacher says, what's under the turtle? Well, it's another turtle. So there's the earth, there's a turtle, there's another turtle. So what's under that one? It's another turtle. Yeah, but what's under that one? And she gets fed up. Look, it's turtles all the way down. It's just the flat earth plane with turtles going off to infinity. So, of course, that's nonsense. But, esoterically speaking, it's not. In the Tao, the Taoist philosophy, in shamanism, you see, and ancient other Eastern religions, they talk about planes of existence. So there's a lower plane, a middle plane, and an upper plane. So the earth is a flat plane, human existence. But beneath that is a lower plane, material realm. In the Tao, they call that as water, the water energy. But the water energy is also represented by an animal, the turtle. The turtle represents the water energy. So beneath the earth plane, there is a turtle. So there's the earth plane on the back of a turtle. But it's metaphysics. It's esoteric knowledge. And what's above the earth plane? Well, it's the heavens. The heavenly plane. Now, and again, they talk about that. The flat earth is the firmament. And they talk about space like water. It's water up there. But when they're talking about space like water, you're talking about the ether. Pure, fluid energy. It's like water. But it's not quite water. So you're moving up into space. You're going into pure fluid, the ether. Again, it's esoteric. It's metaphysical talk. And in the heavens, it's perfect. You go to heaven, it's perfect. Again, we look at the pictures, we think it's there. They believed it literally. It's esoteric. In the heavens, we're talking about mathematics now. Pure metaphysics, non-physical. It's the heavenly realm. In the realm of metaphysics, you can have a perfect sphere. Absolute perfection. It's a mathematical expression of perfection that only exists in the heavenly realm. Here, this sphere is not perfect. I can't draw a perfect circle. It's never perfect here in the plane of human existence. And the map of this three-dimensional universe is still going to be a sphere. It's still going to be a sphere, but it's an esoteric map. The universe is infinite, and in the middle of that there's a plane, the human existence. But here you don't get confused. In that plane of human existence, we have got three-dimensional reality. So again, it's an esoteric plane. But if you center yourself as a human, you yourself become the point, the center point, the point of inertia. The magnetic field goes out, and you also have a plane of inertia, it's called. There's a flat plane around us where the magnetic field is neutral. So again, it's a plane, but it's not three-dimensional space, but it appears in three-dimensional space. It's a plane of inertia. It's to do with the magnetic field. It's not to do with physical matter, but it's still physical. So there's a reality to this knowledge, but the universe is a spherical. So you can think above this plane, it looks like a dome, but then beneath this plane is going to be a dome. But this is all esoteric knowledge. As above, so below. As above means the world of mathematics. Below means the world of physics. The world of physics is going to follow the world of mathematics. As above, so below. But the human energy plane is in the middle. We experience both. We experience the reality, the imperfection, the limitations of matter, but we can also experience the unlimited perfection of the ether, spirit, the world of mathematics. But it's a steady state universe. It's always here. And time, you see, time is more like a clock. It goes round and round and round. Again, same as this, point of inertia. In the middle of this point of inertia, there is no time, there is no space, infinitesimal. But as it comes out, time is created, and time itself goes back in. So it's more like the handle of a clock going round and round and round. When the clock goes round the outside, you can see there's time. But in the middle, if you come down the handle, the middle, the pivot is stationary. In the middle of the clock, there is no time. So there you can say the Big Bang is in the middle of the clock and time stretches away from it. But there's no actual beginning moment to time. It's continually spinning, continually moving. And it's always different. Here's the important bit. Again, there are philosophies that say time repeats. You cannot repeat it. It's more like a spiral, infinitely varying spiral, changing. And in fact, it's mathematical. It's the Fibonacci spiral. It's a spiral based on the golden ratio. It means every moment is new. There's only one mathematical solution that allows this to happen. There's only one mathematical solution that allows this to happen. And that is the golden ratio solution. And it's to do with something called incommensurability in mathematics. Again, that's my way of saying it simply. Incommensurability means there's only one particular solution of perfection that allows mathematics, allows this material world to come into existence. And you can look at it as a flower. So a flower will grow petals around the flower. And this petals is governed by, again, the same mathematics, Fibonacci sequence. And it means you grow one petal, the next petal, the next petal, the next petal, and they go round and round in a circle. But every petal must appear in the gap between the next two petals. And then every time around it appears in the gap between the previous two petals. And it will appear in the gap between the two. So that means a petal is always appearing in a new space. So of course you only have a limited number of petals in a flower, but the magnetic field itself is doing the same thing. It's creating a toroidal field, it's coming out, and it's repeating, but as the field repeats, it repeats in a new place, repeats in a new place, repeats in a new place, for infinity. And if it goes on for infinity, it becomes a sphere, a perfect circle. So for example, if a flower would grow infinite petals, it would become a perfect circle. And that's what the universe is. A flower unfolding, growing a new petal every moment, but the new petal is always appearing in a new position. So every moment the universe is unfolding, it's a new moment. And this goes on for infinity because the golden ratio is infinite mathematics, and there's only that one solution that allows this to happen. That's why the golden ratio governs growth. Living things follow the same pattern. Everything follows the same pattern. A living thing follows this pattern. When the living thing stops living and you're left with inert matter, so now these things are not living, these things are following entropy. See, there's another thing. Inert matter is now objective. It will follow entropy to return back. I talk about this in my previous lectures. Go back and watch them. Aether Physics Part 1 and Part 2. But let's just talk about time now. Time is infinite and it is forever unfolding. The universe is appearing and disappearing every moment, just like this magnetic field. It's happening in me. I am a soul, a point of inertia here. Quite literally, in my body, I have a magnetic field that comes from this point. It comes out and it goes in. And I'll have a plane of inertia around the midpoint. This is a plane. So I myself am a ball, a sphere. The midpoint here is my plane of inertia. This is my plane of human existence. This is where my soul experiences feelings. If I rise up into the top part of the dome, now I'm going into the consciousness, pure mathematics. I'm collecting to spirit, abstract metaphysics. If I go below the lower half of the dome, I'm connected to my belly, the legs, my physical body. I'm connecting to the electricity, the physical energy in my body, the heat. Heat is a physical thing. So I'm connecting to the physicality of my body in the bottom half. But my total being is still a ball, a sphere. And I can create this, build this aura, and find the center of my aura here. So I'm like this. This magnetic field is like this. The whole universe is like this. An atom is the same. An atom is like this. Energy spinning. But it's going to have a point of inertia in the middle of the atom. And a neutron is like this. It's all the same. Metaphysics and physics follow this map of infinity. So there's no Big Bang, can't have a Big Bang. There's no moment of creation. There's no creator. There's no single creator. We are all creators. And you can think of the whole universe as a totality. That in itself could be a creator. But it's infinite. It's infinite. So you can't pin it down. It's a mystery. I used to call this the great mystery. I was trying to develop my own language in explaining this idea. And it's got to be mystical because you're talking metaphysics. So going up into spirit, I call this the great mystery. You can only ask questions and see what answers you get. You want to search for wisdom, reach into the great mystery to learn and understand. But the universe is infinite, continually creating and destroying itself, and we are that universe. And so we can do the same thing. That's the important bit to understand. I can create energy from my center. That changes everything about the way you live your life, how you see life. And it changes everything you see about the physics, the way you do engineering. Because what is a free energy machine? A free energy machine is a way of triggering a point of inertia. You've got to create a point of inertia such that the energy comes out of it that you want. This one, magnetic energy comes out. We can do something with that. But we want one where electrical energy comes out. So slightly different. They always come together. There's both, electric and magnetic. This one, the magnetic is dominant. If we can create another one where electric current comes out, the electric will be dominant. But it's the same thing. It will have to come out of a point of inertia, be created. So we have to set up a system that allows that to happen. Anyway, I hope this little talk made sense. Please do leave me any questions or comments below. Check out also my previous lecture series, Magical Science. I go through this whole thing in a different way. I'm trying it again now, trying to get more detailed, a bit more advanced in this next series, and hopefully a bit clearer in the way I'm explaining this. This is difficult stuff to think about, difficult stuff to understand, and very difficult to try and explain. So I'm doing my best. Please do bear with me. Do like and subscribe and give me a chance. Thank you so much again for your time listening to this, and I look forward to seeing you in any of these other videos here.